welcome to another edition of Did You Know Doctor Who, what you may not know about Doctor Who. This time we're going to have a look at another 8th Doctor story. In fact, it's the second of his only on-screen appearances, The Night of the Doctor, which was the episode released before the 50th anniversary, so I hope you enjoy. Paul McGann had one of the longest gaps between on-screen appearances. With 17 years between this story and Doctor Who the movie, Patrick Troughton had a 10-year gap between the 3 Doctors and the 5 Doctors, Peter Davison had a 23-year gap between the cases of Adrian and the Time Crash. However, all would be defeated next episode with Tom Baker with a 32-year gap. As Paul McGann has only had 2 on-screen appearances, both appearances are ironically regeneration stories. Before regenerating, the Doctor mentions Charlie Pollard, Chris, Lucy Miller, Tazim Drew, and Molly O'Sullivan, his companions from the Big Finish audiobooks, where a majority of the 8th Doctor stories are from. This is the second on-screen appearance of the Sisterhood of Khan, but they made several appearances in the audiobooks. The idea of this story only came about because of the John Hurt reveal in The Name of the Doctor. Stephen Moffat wanted to show how the War Doctor came to be. It was initially believed that the War Doctor was just an older version of the 8th Doctor before the distinction was made in this story. Filming only took 2 days, with the first day being the scenes from Khan, the second day dedicated to Cash's spaceship. Rather than a return to the costume from the TV movie, or using the new image that the Big Finish had introduced, Moffat decided on a variation of the TV movie outfit designed by Howard Burden. The new outfit referenced the previous one, retaining the long green coat and the grey waistcoat, but making it appear more of an adventurer rather than a gentleman's outfit. During the regeneration aftermath, the clip of John Hurt was from the 1979 BBC adaptation of Crime and Punishment. The Doctor's last words are from Luke 4:23 of the Bible. Luke was a doctor. The BBC initially promoted this episode with the teaser that it would feature either the 10th Doctor, 11th Doctor or the War Doctor. While it did feature the War Doctor briefly, it was mainly used as a red herring to hide the surprise return of Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor. This story introduces the idea that Time Lords have become collectively hated during the Time War by the individuals who had suffered from their actions. The Doctor's conflict with his own people over the issue is also made apparent. The Doctor Who magazine had a story where the 8th Doctor would regenerate into the 9th Doctor, in a story called The Flood. However, its cancellation meant the story was never finished, therefore not giving the 8th Doctor his regeneration. According to Emma Campbell-Jones, Paul McGann played the War Doctor in the scene where he takes Cass's bandolier out of the regeneration. This technically makes McGann the second actor to play 2 incarnations of the Doctor, since Sylvester McCoy played the 6th Doctor for the regeneration sequence in Time and the Rani. This is the second televised regeneration story to not feature scenes inside the TARDIS, the first being Planet of the Spiders. The TARDIS that appears is the same used by the War Doctor, which is technically incorrect, as the 8th Doctor's TARDIS was noticeably dark blue and somewhat skinnier in look. It also didn't have a white notice, rather a blue one. Technically speaking, the 8th Doctor is the longest consecutive running Doctor, starting from 1996 and still ongoing, despite only 2 on-screen appearances. After the episode aired, fans petitioned for Paul McGann to get his own series. In fact, the episode met massive critical acclaim, so much so Paul McGann was willing to come back for more. However, sadly, Moffat shot down the idea of McGann getting his own series, over fears that he was too old. Not only that, but he felt one Doctor at a time was a better option than 2 Doctors in one go. He also felt that this was an unimportant one-off. And that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed. The Night of the Doctor, as many people pointed out, and myself included, is an absolutely fantastic short bit of work. It might even be arguably better than the actual 50th anniversary, and I actually do sort of agree in that aspect. This is truly phenomenal, even though it's less than 10 minutes long. It's a shame that Paul McGann only has 2 on-screen appearances, because in both appearances he has managed to smash it out the park. He is a fantastic Doctor. He's probably the best looking of all the Doctors, and I don't mean that in like the attractive sense. I mean by the actual design, the costume design, the looks and all that. He looks phenomenal. He is fantastic, and obviously the audiobooks, he is brilliant. I love Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor. It is a shame that he doesn't have more on-screen appearances, and I think Moffat's rather bullshit reasons are kind of unfair. I do understand the aspect of, well, we can't really have 2 Doctors series happening at the same time, I should say, but at the same time, why not just do an animated series where he just has to voice over some stuff, or maybe animate some of the Big Finish audiobooks, although that might be very controversial. Nonetheless, there are options out there which he could take, or they could have taken, I should say, involving Paul McGann, and I do think Paul McGann has what it takes to do some Doctor Who stuff, even if it's just shorts, every occasional short. It would be just phenomenal to see what he can do. I do kind of hate that one idea, though, that the 8th Doctor regenerated into the War Doctor. I don't know, I kind of like the idea that the War Doctor was just an older version of the 8th Doctor, personally speaking, but then again, we wouldn't have had this fantastic little short episode now, would we? Hope you enjoyed this episode of Did You Know Doctor Who, and I'll see you for the 50th anniversary next time.